Wow, ladies and gentlemen, it's time already for another show. And this is the last normally scheduled show now for a week. So I just need you to know that. This next Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, I'm not going to be doing these live scheduled shows. I apologize. I'm going to be heading out of town for a while. So I've got things going on. I got things cooking. You know, what can I say? But sorry for the short notice as well. But there will be a special Sunday show tomorrow. If you're so inclined, you could join me. I got to adjust the headphone volume. I was jamming some music. But tomorrow morning at 11 Pacific time, 11 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow morning, I will be welcoming the three gentlemen from the Irish Bigfoot Research Organization, Jim, Ron, and Chris, to the show, and we'll be discussing their research over in Ireland looking for the European Bigfoots, as well as the documentary that's now available on Amazon Prime. So I hope you guys will join us. This is tomorrow morning right here on YouTube. For those of you that are on YouTube, for those of you on TFR and affiliated networks, you'll have to come to YouTube to check it out. But it's a special show tomorrow, and that will be a great time to get together with those guys. I love those guys dearly. They've been like family to me for years. So it's going to be wonderful to have them on the show and talk about all of this stuff and so much more. So that'll be tomorrow morning. And other than that, after that, then nothing for a week. But I'm not alone here. I am joined by the big branch himself, Mr. Sheldon Thomas. How you doing, Sheldon?
I'm doing good. Good evening and good night to all of those joining us. Glad to be here as always. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling spooky. I'm ready for some paranormal action. You know, the usual. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm glad you're here with me as well. It's always fun when we can collaborate, even though we live quite a distance apart. It's like just getting together and visiting. So I like it. And I'm glad you're here. And we got a lot of things to get to tonight, folks. We got, of course, the news, which is, I got this little like fruit fly. Loves to buzz right in front of my freaking nose. I'm so afraid I'm so, yeah. Well, you know, I'm kind of sweet. But I'm afraid I'm going to like inhale him and they'll be like, because he's like,
be entertaining though.
Right. Oh, thank you very much. You little, yeah. All right. Anyway, I can't finish that thought because this is a family show, but, no, I don't want to suck in a fruit fly here as I'm doing the show, although that might be a little paranormal. But anyway, my reaction to it definitely would be because well, have you ever done that? Everybody's done that, right? You breathe in like a bug, be like talking like one of them just takes a line right for the back of your throat and it makes you just want to puke. Oh, it's the worst thing ever. Well, it's one of the worst things ever. But so far he's avoiding my face. Now he's gone somewhere else. So I guess we're in good shape. But we got the news. Then we're going to get the Discord question of the week, which is, I hope, a good one. And then we're going to get to some other oddities and stuff. And then we'll hit the Cryptid Corner to round off the 2-hour show. So I hope you guys are ready to dive right into it because we better get to some news. What do you think, Sheldon?
Let's do it.
It's time for the news. The most trusted news. Gotta love it, right, Sheldon?
Always.
We are the most trusted news, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News. And this is where we discuss the news that I managed to pull together for the show tonight. The objective behind the news is that it's all not paranormal, but some of it's weird, bizarre. Some of it's, exciting, technological. But I hope that you walk away knowing something you didn't know when you got here. That'd be kind of cool. So that's always my objective, is to find stories like that. And, my favorite go-to site is unexplained-mysteries.com. They do an incredible job. And so I can't encourage you enough to go over there and check them out yourself. If I can close their darn ads. Why do they have ads all over everything? It's just like, what the hell? They got to pay the bills, right? Yeah, I know, but this one doesn't even have a shut it down thing, so it's just gonna run. But I'm not on that one anyway. I'm on the one before it. And so the first news article for the night is from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this one is a UFO related story. Oh, there's the X thing. Researchers hunt for photographer behind famous UFO image. This is from January 28th, 2023 by TK Randall. Again, I don't know who this guy is or this person is, but God, they are just busy. And they are just, every article on this site is put up by this person. Or unless it's a pseudonym and it's just like some machine name or something, but it's just a fantastic site. And there's the image. For those of you on YouTube, you can see it, and this is the original photograph, and you can see there's a plane in the background, and in the foreground is this, I don't know, I guess it's a saucer looking thing, and it's just up in the air over some kind of barbed wire fence or some kind of fence to that nature. But it says on August 4th, 1990, two young chefs had been walking in the Cairngorms National Park near Perth when they spotted a strange diamond-shaped object in the sky nearby. I guess it's diamond-shaped, sorry. Terrified, the men hid behind some bushes to observe the mysterious craft. A short time later, they heard the sound of an RAF jet approaching. The plane seemed to change course and circle the UFO for a time before returning to its original course. Keen to take a photograph, one of the men aimed their camera at the sky and took a few snaps. A few seconds later, the object flew upwards into the heavens and was gone. Convinced they had seen a UFO, the men passed their best photograph along to a local newspaper. However, it was promptly handed over to the Ministry of Defense and was never published. Well, that must have been a little disappointing. The image would stay classified, in fact, for over 30 years until it turned out that the retired RAF officer Craig Lindsay had broken protocol by stashing a copy of it inside his desk. The image above finally made it into the newspapers last year. Now a team of UFO researchers led by Dr. David Clark of Sheffield Hallam? Yeah, I guess so. Hallam University had been attempting to track down the individual who took the original photograph. On the back of the original photo we acquired last year is the name of the photographer, but we've not released this information into the public domain, said researcher Matthew, I don't know, is that Ilzy? I-L-L? It's weird when the L's and the I's look exactly the same in some fonts. Yeah. So I think that's Ilesley. During our research, though, we have confirmed the man in question did live in Pitlochry? I don't know, in 1990-91 while working as a kitchen porter in a hotel. Is a kitchen porter the same as a chef? Or did they just embellish their roles?
Good question.
It's like, I'm a phone technician. No, you're a receptionist. We also traced a number of his former colleagues, one of whom says he knew the photographer well during their time together. Whether this individual will ever be able to recall any further details, however, remains to be seen. So they're looking to find out who this person is or to get in touch with them if they're still around. I mean, the 90s was not long ago, right? So,
well, 30 years ago, around.
I know. Yeah, it's coming, isn't it? Mr. 1994. Seems like yesterday, though, for me. It really does.
I understand. Yeah. Now, Maggie actually brought up a really good comment regarding this photo.
Okay.
She says, the whole talking point about this pic was if it's a rock in a lake, the plane would have changed its whole discussion. Not making any judgments, but that's a bit strange.
Oh, I see what you're saying. What if it's a downward facing photograph and that's a rock emerging from the water with the reflection, and that's a reflection of a plane? That is interesting. That's a great Great point. Maybe they're up above and looking down on a body of water, and that's just a reflection. Great catch. Wow. That's fantastic, Maggie. Thank you.
Well done, Meg.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, I guess I would have never looked at it that way, but now that you say it, it's hard not to see that now.
Yeah, I kind of see it. I got to admit, after I read it.
Yep. So, and that's exactly why I love the fact that we all bring something to the table. I mean, I would have never looked at this and thought, well, that's a reflection of a rock in the water. But now that you say it, it's like, yeah, it looks like a reflection of a rock in the water. Like it's jutting just above the surface enough to create a reflection, making it look like it's in the air. The clouds in the sky are reflected off the smooth surface. Sure. Why not? So great take. I don't know whether the photo was taken. Is there a body of water right there? I don't know. I guess they said there were, I don't know what the Cairngorms National Park near Perth looks like, or if there's something like this there, but that'd be interesting to dig into, I guess. I'm not familiar with the area at all, so I have no input, but that's a great take.
Yeah, it's hard to say now.
Yeah,
now that I'm looking at it. Right?
Yeah, now that's all I can see. It's funny, and it goes back to what I was saying about that. That I love when people with different backgrounds chime in on this stuff because, again, I'm going to repeat it again, but this is a story I've mentioned a few times on the show. There was a photo that was rolling, doing the rounds years and years ago before I ever had a show, about that people thought was some kind of Bigfoot or creature. They weren't really sure. But there were people, oh, that's definitely Bigfoot, and this is what it's doing. And I was looking at it, I'm like, I don't see that. I don't see what they're seeing, but I don't know what the hell it is I'm looking at. And I looked at it and just kind of blew it off. But then I started to read the comments. And there was a ton of comments on this picture. And this was in a Facebook group years and years ago. But it took a deer hunter to say, no, that's a white-tailed deer, and this is what it's doing. And then he took the photo and drew it out, showing you the lines of the deer, and it suddenly was like, oh my God, it for sure is. I mean, it was not even debatable once that guy pointed it out. I was like, well, yeah, that's what it is, of course. But if he hadn't chimed in, there's my little bug. If he hadn't chimed in, I never would have seen that. But now that Maggie says that, it's like, oh God, yeah, that's a great thing. So. Yeah, I love it when we get the inputs from all of you guys because it definitely makes a lot of this stuff potentially make a hell of a lot more sense. So thank you. All right, let's move on to the next one because we got a ton more. I don't know what we'll get time for, but we'll get to what we got time for. The next one up is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. I didn't read any of these, but I read this headline and I'm like, what? So this is from the World of Bizarre section of unexplained-mysteries.com. Brand new. Pokemon-streaming fish commits credit card fraud live on the air.
Oh, wait, what? I understand your reaction now.
Magikarp, use credit fraud. Critical hit. For any of you Pokemon enthusiasts, you'll get that. This is by TK Randall, January 8th, 2023. A YouTuber who let his pet fish play video games got more than he bargained for during a recent live stream. It's a story so bizarre that it could only come from the strange world of YouTuber Mute Kamaru channel, the Mute Kamaru channel. A Japanese streamer who's known for enabling his pet fish, to play video games using motion tracking software which interprets the animal's position in its tank as various controlled inputs. During a recent live stream, he had left the fish to play Nintendo Switch game Pokemon Violet, and while things had gotten off to a good start, a few hours into the run, the game crashed, giving the fish access to the console's dashboard. The oblivious fish ended up going into the eShop and added around 500 yen to the owner's account, exposing his credit card details to everyone watching the stream in the process. It also managed to use the funds to purchase a profile picture for the game Nintendo Switch Sports. By the time the owner found out it was too late, he ended up having to cancel his credit card. He was, however, able to get a refund from Nintendo after explaining the situation. The fish's lawyer was unavailable for comment. The fish's like, oh, he's gone. I'm going shopping. So it committed credit card fraud live on a stream. Well, God, you don't see that every day. You might never have heard of that before, and you're welcome, all of you viewers. That's hilarious. The fish just went shopping. It was like,
what a 200 IQ play.
Yeah, no kidding. That was a 5-head move, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's unusual for sure. I don't know what to think of that, but yeah, you might want to supervise your goldfish, especially if it's on the World Wide Web. All right, let's get to the next one, and this one is from unexplained-mysteries.com. This is an odd one. I don't know what to make of this one. It's from Archaeology and History, and it might be too long, but mysterious handprint found in wall of ancient Jerusalem moat. There you go. There's a picture of it for those of you on YouTube. You can see, but it doesn't look like a natural handprint. It just looks like a carving, like somebody carved a hand in there. Maybe they were bored or on lunch or something. But
yeah, what kind of natural hand is that?
I don't know. Well, it's not. It just says mysterious handprint, so it doesn't claim. It says archaeologists discovered the enigmatic handprint during excavation work of the city's historical fortifications. Makes you wonder if they reused block from something else, like maybe from some building that had collapsed but had carvings on it. According to a recent press release by the Israel Antiquities Authority, the print was found during a dig along Sultan Sulaiman Street between Jerusalem's Damascus Gate and the Lion's Gate. The excavations, which were being carried out prior to infrastructure work, revealed part of an ancient defensive moat believed to date back around 1,000 years. The moat surrounded the entire old city, dates back about 1,000 years to the 10th century CE, or Common Era, or earlier, and its function was to prevent the enemy besieging Jerusalem from approaching the walls and breaking into the city, said excavation director Zubair Adawi. Exactly why there is a human handprint embedded in the stonework remains unclear. Archaeologists don't know whether it was done deliberately, and if it was, exactly why it was left there. Does it symbolize something, the researchers wrote? Does it point to a specific nearby element, or is it just a local prank? Time may tell. Many dreamed about or fought for Jerusalem, and the city fortifications are a silent testimony, said Israeli Antiquities Authority Director Eli Esquisito. The archaeological finds enable us to visualize the dramatic events and the upheavals that the city underwent. One can imagine the tumults and almost smell the battle smoke. We are daily unraveling the city's intensive military history and will make great efforts to exhibit the findings to the public. I think it reminds me of that movie with what's his name, the elf from Lord of the Rings. But it was the Kingdom of Heaven or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It was a good movie. Yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
movie. I was very, very enthralled by that. But yeah, I mean, what was the handprint for? I don't know. It does make me think that maybe they just used rubble from whatever they had being besieged. Maybe they built a moat and just took rubble from buildings that were destroyed and created this wall. But it's anybody's guess. Interesting though, all the same.
Yeah. Very.
I got to look at the time and see how we're doing here. We're down to 7 minutes. Okay.
We got time.
We got time. There's a weird one from the archives. You want to see this one, Sheldon?
Yes.
With the cost of building materials, you can hardly blame a guy anymore. The exorbitant skyrocketing prices, you got to find things where you can. However, I would encourage you to use this guy's method, which was Unexplained-Mysteries.com reports from January 21st, 2010, man steals tombstones to build house with.
Oh, man.
Do you want a haunting? Because this is how they start.
Oh, no.
A man in the Ukraine has been arrested after stealing tombstones to use them as building material for his house. After a police search of his home, the 42-year-old was found to have stolen at least 38 marble tombstones with the intention of using them as construction materials. When confronted, the man confessed to the crime. Yeah, it's hard not to. I mean,
You can't hide that well.
So why do you have 38 tombstones? I found them. Somebody left them in my yard. The police of Ukraine arrested a resident of the damn bug. What is the hell? Why is my face so interesting? The police of Ukraine arrested a resident of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea on suspicion of vandalism. The man would steal marble tombstones to use them as construction material for his house. Yeah, well, there you go.
Oh, man.
That's just all kinds of creepy. Defacing burial sites in order to build a house. It's my dream home. Yeah, good luck with that one.
You could say, as Rachel says, they got him dead to rights.
Gotcha a rim shot on that one, Rachel. Thank you. yeah, they nailed him on that one for sure. Wow, that's
Wonder
terrible.
Woman says at least he'll be able to name his ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to hunt for the name on those deals. Oh, that's just horrid. That's terrifying, actually. Yeah, but there you go. Part of the news. Here's one from 2009. No, we're not going to read that one. That was kind of weird. I don't know. I'm just looking through the headlines. I got about time for. Oh, this one's kind of creepy, but cool. It has a good ending, but it's really macabre. But let's read this one. This one is from the way back in the archives. Unexplained-mysteries.com brings us from 2009, August 9th. Man finds his baby son alive in coffin. Ugh. A grieving father who had opened the coffin of his deceased baby son discovered to his surprise that the infant was breathing several hours after doctors had pronounced him dead. An investigation into the blunder is ongoing. Paraguayans have hailed a miracle after a grieving father opened his baby son's coffin and discovered that the infant was still alive hours after doctors pronounced him dead. Wow. They were rushing to burial on that one. He's dead. Let's go. Get him while they're fresh. I don't know what the hell. Usually it takes time. There's a prep. I don't know. Maybe Paraguay doesn't have that law. Maybe they just, if it's an infant, maybe they just bury them as they are. But thank God the baby was found. I mean, what an incredible experience that is, right?
Yes. Oh, God.
Wow.
Mean, imagine if he didn't open the casket.
Yeah. I mean, well, he'd never have known. He was already grieving, but something compelled him to open his son's casket or his child's casket. I don't know, boy or girl, but baby son, it says, yeah. So to open his casket and then to see him alive. I mean, wow, that's incredible. I wonder if the kid turned out okay. Is everything all right, or what was going on? But was it considered a stillbirth or what? I mean, there's so much we don't know, but still, what a great ending on that one, huh?
Ooh, yeah.
Oof. I tell you what, that's kind of stuff that gives you chills.
I mean, that is such a happy ending. I mean, imagine grieving that pain in your heart and all that, but then
it's just gone.
The miracle that, I mean,
yeah. I mean, was it just, did they not really carefully measure for any life signs, or did they just, well, it didn't work out. Let's move on to the next one. Like if it was just born, it does say baby son. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have on this one. This is a curious story. But happy ending. The child was alive. Hopefully it stayed that way. And it didn't just happen again later. I don't know. They should have a follow-up. I guess it was 2009, but you'd think they would have some kind of follow-up on that. I wonder if there's any information out there. Like, hey, he's, he's 14 now, doing good. He's getting good grades. Everything's looking good. But I don't know. That's just me. I always want more information, but I'll tell you what, folks. The information now is that this has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News Desk. Hopefully you've become more informed than you were when you got here. So we're going to get back to the rest of the show and get to the first break. So let's get going. That news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back to the regular part of the show, and we're going to go to the break here in about 30 seconds, and then we'll come back and hit the Discord question of the week. Thank you to everybody that took the time to respond. Android wrote Android wrote some stuff. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that guy's probably got to massage his wrists after he got there's a lot of information in there, but we'll cover all that when we come back from break. We'll probably do some shout outs too. So if you want to shout out on the YouTubes, then by all means, just type something in the chat after the break as soon as you can, and then your name will get populated on the list. But we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Do not go away. We'll be right back with you. Sheldon's face is doing all kinds of weird stuff. The hell's
Keep
wrong
it
with your
like this. This is great.
What do you mean keep it like this? I'm not doing it.
It's funny.
What the hell's going on?
I'm highly entertained by it, though.
You look like a freaking transformer.
I like it. Keep it. Don't do anything.
I'm not doing anything. It's happening by itself.
I like it.
Sheldon, it's true. Sheldon is actually just an AI facsimile. I don't really have a co-host tonight. It quit now.
He doesn't have a son named Sheldon. I'm just an AI.
Yeah. Artificial intelligence. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, now that Sheldon's face is done, he's trying to get it to start again. I was doing nothing, brother. It was doing that all on its own. You were glitching. You were like a fragment of the Matrix just going crazy. That's funny. And it was only your face. It wasn't even your background. So
I know. It's cool.
yeah, that is pretty bizarre. It's got to be on your end, whatever it was. I don't know if you got a automated virus scan just started or something. I don't know.
But you're right, guys. I'm a reptilian. The cloaking device wasn't working that well.
I can't even say anything to that because there's so many things that I could do, but I won't. For the sake of this being a family show,
I am protected.
You are. Okay. All right. So we have a lot more to get to. This is the second half hour of the show is now underway, and quit trying to glitch yourself, Sheldon.
I miss it.
You child. Knock it off. Sit still. You can go to your room and think about it. You're not too big to get sent to your room, child. I'm just going to say that.
It's too late. I'm already in it.
Yeah, that's true. I can disconnect you, though. Sorry, it seems we lost Sheldon's connection. The glitch was worse than we thought. We are going to get to the Discord question of the week, folks. And this is a new segment we've been running here on the show. And it's one that I'm having a lot of fun with because it's great to hear your guys' take on so many of these things. So we're going to get to that. When, Sheldon?
Right now.
Right now. Let's get to it and start cranking up the fun meter here on the Paranormal Portal. Because, hang on, we're going in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Questions of the Week segment. And this is a way that we can tie in our Discord community. Yes, what? Yes, there's a Discord community here on the Paranormal Portal. And if Sheldon posts the link, we can show you how to become part of it yourself. We'd love to have you join up over there. And if you use Discord, or if not, you can still learn how. There's plenty of ability out there to look at tutorials, how to use it and such. It's really not a complicated program. It's just it's unusual probably for many of you from what you've used before. But once you know where things are, it's like moving into a new town. Anything with computers, you just got to figure out when you're using a new program where to find things. And so the same is true for Discord. It's like, where do you find it? Where is the messages? Where do you click? What do you do? How do you type? Once you get all that sorted, it's really quite easy. So we'd love to have you become a part. Sheldon pasted the link in the chat on YouTube. So if you want to come be a part of it, we'd love to see you there. Let's do that. I guess I was going to do shout outs first, wasn't I?
We can do that quick.
Yeah, you want to do shout outs quick? Any of you want to shout out in YouTube, go ahead. There's nobody in TFR right now. It's just me in the TFR chat. So,
okay.
Who do we got,
Yes.
Sheldon?
So, for now, we have Android Paranormal, Chucky Danger, James Mihalik. I hope I'm saying that right. I apologize.
Cool.
John Stevenson, John Temperine, Maggie M10, Mystic Shepherdess. Shepherdess.
Yeah.
You're here. Rachel's here. Ramon J.
Ramon
J. Lechuga. Nice to see you. Rhoda Williams. I'm here.
Rhonda.
Oh my God, Rhonda Williams. I apologize. It's an off day. We have the fourth color, Tony Phillips 33, Tracy Gale, Vegas Dirt Pusher, Wonder Woman, Weapon X5, Woods and Creek. I saw a few jump in.
Elaine.
Chris Cirque,
Yep.
Elaine's here. Laura Tarnowski is here.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to see if I missed anyone. I think that's it.
I think you're good. I think those are the people.
We're good.
Those are the people that are chatting. We can keep. Oh, somebody else popped in. Look in the regular chat, and you can see who said. I don't know. Nobody else popped up here. I don't know.
They say Chucky Danger? I think I said Chucky Danger.
Well, if not, Chucky Danger. Woo!
Chucky Danger, hey!
All right. So let's get to the Discord question of the week. Again, would love to have you become involved over there. But I'm going to put it up on screen so you guys can see what Discord looks like. And this is what it looks like. Let me pull it down so you can actually see more of it. This is Discord. Over here, you see the Paranormal Portal. This is our server. And all of this is the chat threads. You can just use your scroll wheel on your mouse to go up and down and look at the different topic areas: UFO, ghost, dogman, Bigfoot, general, cryptids, strange phenomena. There's some voice channels down here that I've never seen anybody use yet, but they're there if you want to talk in person rather than type. And there's even a Discord tutorial folder here, thread that you can click that'll show you some tutorials on how to use Discord. But here is the questions of the week. And that's where we have the question, which is right here. So Sheldon, you want to go ahead and start reading?
Absolutely. So today's question of the week is: the doppelganger phenomena is where people encounter a copy of a person they know, even sometimes themselves. Most often, these copies are deemed to be a negative thing, an omen of some sort or something diabolical. Do you believe doppelgangers are a representation of something dark or evil? Or do you believe these are just a strange quirks in the fabric of our reality? Are they an intelligence of their own, or simply echoes of past or future events? What do you think this could be?
Now, I should have been a little more specific about this question. I was speaking of people seeing apparitions that look just like somebody, like, oh, my dad just walked by me when I was coming down the hall, but then I got to the kitchen and he was there. And that didn't make sense. So I meant more about the spiritual apparitions, but people also talk about the doppelganger in that there's like everybody has a twin. So we've kind of got a couple of variations of that. And then that's my fault. I should have been more specific in the question. But anyway, go ahead, Sheldon.
All right. So our first responder is Inner Underbelly. Says, well, my doppelganger is a thief that is certainly an intelligent and nothing but a liability for me. He's so lucky to have such a well-behaved doppelganger. I'm haunted by my own evil likeness and try to explain that to a raging person who's missing their property.
Yeah, that would suck. If there was somebody that looks just like you out there and just doing all kinds of dirt, and just because you look like them, you've got a problem. You know, that sucks. That's a horrible situation.
Next is Chucky Danger saying, if I have a doppelganger somewhere, I hope it's intelligent enough to take over my workplace life and not intelligent enough to interfere with anywhere else in my life. Wishful thinking, I suppose. Chucky Danger, I completely agree.
Yeah, don't you wish you could have a work clone that you just send out the door every morning to go earn your check, and then they come home and you just plug them in again or something?
Yeah. God, I wish.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman says, in my 20s and 30s, I had several occasions where strangers would speak to me and swear I was this person they used to know, that I looked just like her. I even asked her name. It was unfamiliar name every time in different parts of the country. Don't think my dad was fooling around either. It's always spooky, though. Did I have a twin, or was I adopted? My mom laughed at that once. Theories of multi-dimensions and portals make the doppelganger plausible. Harbinger of doom or dread, just the event in itself is a rattling experience.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cryptic Chaos says, I went to school with a girl that looked exactly like me, or I looked like her.
Wow.
The only difference was our hair length. Teachers and students always confused us. Even I thought we looked alike. I never talked to her, though, because I thought it was weird to talk to someone who looked just like me. From what I heard, she was a good person. Anyway, I think it could be both. There are many sides of creatures changing into different animals, so what's to say they can't also change into people?
Good point.
I also wouldn't be surprised if the government has great makeup and special effects artists that can change people's faces and make them look flawless and natural. But just because someone looks like you doesn't mean they have to be like you personality-wise. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yep. Whether it's coincidence or whether it's actually a doppelganger, I mean, who knows?
Right.
Ozul Barina, I believe, says, my personal opinion is that it's just luck with the draw DNA. Yes, I do believe that spirits have the ability to copy people, but outside of documented hauntings, it's most likely just down to the fact that as more people are added to the planet, the genetic lottery is eventually going to hit doubles.
Yep.
It's just a question of whether or not you ever meet your double. And that's a good point, too. There was something I actually read that said, like, for every one person who looks a certain way, there's, I believe it was 7 people in the world are gonna look just like you, like in some way, shape, or form. As far as like genetic makeups and
so there's 6 other stunningly handsome people out there that look just like me. Wow.
That's right.
Okay, go ahead.
But no, that's a good point. That's a good point from Azul. Good point.
It is.
Rachel 101 says, I think throughout different cultures, there's a possibility of them being interpreted as evil or bad omens. I consider it an umbrella term. Doppelgangers have been seen associated with haunted houses as well. Mm-hmm. Now, could these copies need a form and voice to communicate with the living? Not out of evil purpose, but just because they need a voice? And that voice has to be a resident of the house? Possibly an intelligent force or being. They can be thought of as evil, because it's essentially a theft of the complete identity of an individual being copied.
Yeah, very good point.
That's a good point too.
Yep.
That they need a copy. That's a good point. Yeah.
Now the dissertation of Android Paranormal.
oh God. I do like this though. I do like this.
Yeah.
I'm not taking crap on it or anything.
No, I understand.
I'm excited. So Android Paranormal says there are 2 different definitions for doppelganger. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the spiritual apparition form and the physical form. In regards to the physical form, I do not think it means anything and do not even think it's paranormal. It is not out of the realm of possibility for at least one of the 8 billion people to have the physical characteristics of their DNA to match them so closely they almost look like identical twins. Mm-hmm. While that is kind of creepy, I think that's just nature. Yeah. And that's a good point too. For the apparition spiritual form of a doppelganger, I think they are always of a negative origin. I do not believe it is just regular human spirits manifesting into a form that mirrors you, because I do not believe that human spirits have the ability to just form into anything they want. If they are able to do that, then I think we could be seeing apparitions of unicorns, lions, bears, or other animal apparitions a lot because people always dream about their favorite animal. So if you could manifest yourself in anything you want as a ghost, then wouldn't you try doing an animal at least once? Plus, I cannot think of any logical reason as to why a human spirit would want to use the little bit of energy they do have to make themselves look like someone they did not even know in their human life. Yeah. So because of those reasons, I personally believe that the manifestation of a doppelganger apparition is certainly not of the human spirit. I also believe that in most cases, it is not residual energy either, because on the reports I have heard of people seeing themselves, it is commonly a place they did not walk or did not walk there on a regular basis. So that only leaves a non-human entity that is manifesting these doppelganger apparitions. However, people may wonder, why in the world would a non-human apparition manifest to look identical to a human living being, or a living human? This can be explained by looking at Mother Nature. In the world of predator and prey, there's something called aggressive mimicry. This is when a predator will purposely do something to make themselves or a part of themselves look like the prey they are hunting and try to fool their prey to come close to them, so then they can capture them and eat them. Some predators are known to do this include anglerfish that has a that has a thing that hangs in front of them of its face to lure prey.
Yep.
Just like a fishing lure. Oh, right. Yeah. And some types of Venus flytraps will be red and shape themselves to mimic flowers to entice. Oh, I'm sorry. Entice a being to land on it to feed on the pollen. And there is many more examples too. So I believe these doppelganger apparitions are non-human entities trying to lure its prey, humans, closer to them, just like some predators do in the animal kingdom of nature. These entities are either trying to trick someone by letting their guard down to begin trying to possess them, or trick someone by getting the human physically closely to feed of their energy, and then scare them when the human comes to investigate and absorb the energy given off by the emotion of fear. Oh, okay. They know if they make themselves look like someone else in their household, then that person is not supposed to be home from work yet. Then the human is going to be confused and pursue the doppelganger around the corner to ask why they're home early from work. Then when the human rounds the corner, they scare and feed off of their fear energy. Or maybe enter their body while their guard is down to start long process of possession to try and break their will down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Those are great takes. What do you think, Sheldon?
Oh, kind of like a predator. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, man, for this, I am half and half because obviously I read that, I did read about that fact as far as like genetic makeup. And I think it could be both. Mm-hmm. I think it could be both spiritual and genetic. I don't think it's just black and white.
Well, I think there's two very
saying that either.
It's very different phenomena. Having a lookalike is one thing, and again, that really wasn't my focus for this question, but I do appreciate your guys' input on that as well because is it possible there's someone that looks exactly like you? I think it's probable, especially given the numbers out there, and like everyone has said, there's only a set number of ways a nose, eyes, mouth, and face can be assembled. I mean, there's a finite number of randomizations that can happen, and certainly it just stands to reason that, obviously some people are going to match almost perfectly. There's certainly that, and I think that everybody probably does have a doppelganger or two out there. I've heard, through the years, because I've looked very differently throughout my life, and I don't know why. It's just, and I think everybody does, but in different facets of my life, I was looked like somebody like on TV, and then I looked like somebody that these people knew, and I think many people probably have experiences like that. Oh, you look just like my friend, blah blah blah. I had one guy just a few months ago in the grocery store, a guy I'd never seen before, coming up to me, gonna hug me. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, wait, you look exactly like my best friend who lives up in, somewhere." I don't remember where he said, but he was visiting this town that I live in, and he was at the store, and he thought I was a dead ringer for his friend. He was coming up in full hug motion, and I was like, "Who are you? What the hell's going on?" "I'm not a quick hugger. Let's work up to that." Let's get a snack first or something before we go for a full hug. What's going on here? But it turns out, he said, "Man, you are a dead ringer for my best friend." And he said, "I was so surprised he was here. I thought you were surprising me." I was like, "I'm just coming to get some groceries." It was weird. It's a true story, though. So some guy out there right now apparently looks exactly like me, and his friend happened to be in the same grocery store as I was. So what does that mean? Well, I gotta say though, I will tell you this, as far as duplicate people that I noticed when I moved here after living a lifetime in southeastern Minnesota, that there were people that were very similar to the community that I left. I see people that remind me very closely of people I know, and there's this, it's called under the code. And basically, it's an idea that physical characteristics represent psychological traits in a person. Like one thing, if a person's earlobes are their ear wraparound, if it's open, like it doesn't fold over on themselves, those people are generally considered to be open-minded people. Like they're willing to accept new ideas pretty easily. Conversely, if the person's ear is rolled over on the edge, like rolled over on itself, they're considered more closed-minded or more locked in their ideas. And it's not necessarily positive or negative either way, but that's a physical characteristic that you can look at to try to determine more about a person. Another thing is if the eyebrows are close set to the eyes, those are generally usually very nice people, or at least very personable people. And then there has something to do with eye distance and stuff. So there's this whole system that's broken down physical characteristics of a person. And oddly enough, and I don't know why, but it's usually taught in psychic circles. And I don't know if it's an old gypsy thing where it came from or what, but it's taught to psychics so that they can look at somebody and go, you're a very open-minded person, and you're very personable. People like you. They like to communicate with you, and it kind of it works as kind of an icebreaker. So I'm kind of letting people know a little bit of a magician's trick in a sense, but it's just that apparently our physical features may be indicative of our personality traits. Like maybe that's a representation of the fact that the spirit really does form the body, because all these things are reflected in the manifestation of our physical form. So I don't know, it could be just, I don't know, genetic predisposition, anybody's ideas, whatever. But the point is that I did notice when I moved here, there were people that were very similar to people that I had known at home. Very, very similar body types, facial features. And I noticed the behavioral similarities after I got to know them. It's like, yeah, they actually behave very similar. And I was thinking to myself, it's almost like there's only a set number of people or a set number of physical characteristics that we can have. And maybe that is it. I don't know what it means necessarily, but I found it very interesting that I felt like I knew people when I moved here just because they reminded me so much of people I had already known. And I found in many cases when I did get to know those people a little bit that it was actually surprisingly accurate. And so is there something to that? I don't know. Maybe.
I've thought the same thing as far as, moving different places growing up. I did uncover the same kind of thing, people looking like, but also even personality wise. Yes. It seems like there's only a certain number of personalities out there because there's so much like, oh my God, you're, as far as personality was, you're just like someone I used to know,
sure.
All those years ago. You can kind of match them together as far as like, oh, personality like that, personality like this, personality like that.
Sure.
It's very rare I actually meet a personality where it's like, I've never met a personality like this, type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's very, very accurate too. In fact, there's the personality inventories in psychology. There's a certain, the INF, the whatever the letter characteristics are for different personality types. And there is a finite amount of those. It's like, you may be a little atypical of one or another, but generally speaking, people usually fit into one of those categories. I think there's 6 of them. I don't remember how many of them there are, but it is interesting. So, but the spirit,
Android said, also talk about your thoughts of the spiritual form of doppelganger too. Love to hear what you think of my theory on that form.
I think that it's very possible. That's a great take on it, actually, that it could be a form of predation. I resonated completely with what you're talking about in terms of nature. I mean, there's moths that look like birds just to keep birds from eating them. And then there's like lightning bugs, they'll fly around, but there's another kind of bug that can make that flashing light landed, and they're predators of the lightning bugs or the fireflies, whatever you want to call them. And so it's interesting that, in order to lower, and I think that's where some of the child spirit stuff comes from, is that's a form of predation. It's to look innocent, to make people want to open themselves up to you. So yeah, I think your take on that is it coincides with a lot of things that I agree with as well. I can't say any of us are right or wrong, but again, these are just fascinating discussions. So I see we got a phone call, but the problem is we're gonna have to wait until we get to the other side of the break because we're literally a minute out of break. So if you just hold the line, we'll get to you right on the other side. It'll just be 3 minutes, and we'll get to the phone call. Thank you all for your input on this, though. I really appreciate it. You guys are absolutely fantastic, and your input is incredible. So thank you for doing that. Please, if you wouldn't mind, get involved in the Discord. You can become a part of these discussions too. Before every live show, we do these questions of the week that we'll cover on the next live show. So unless we have guests, like tomorrow, there won't be a question of the week, so don't watch for one for then. But let's close this up quick and get ready for the break, and then we'll be right back after that. All right, folks, there's the bell. So we're going to go to the break here, and we will be right back in just a couple minutes. We'll get to the call, and we'll get to more incredible paranormal information when we come back. Don't go away. Do not go away. All right, we'll be right back.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Caroline is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances have a fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Yes, they can. They can go on for years and years. Just checking the horn, and Mom texted me and said, Maggie's on the phone. I said, okay. All right, let's get to our phone call. And this, I believe, is Maggie. Are you there?
Hi, yeah, it's Maggie.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Maggie.
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
We're doing good. Thank you for calling in.
Amazing.
It's great to hear from you. What's going on tonight?
Well, I probably should have answered the question, but I didn't actually understand the question clearly.
But that's okay.
It was just that my mum had an experience, and I didn't realise it's what you're talking about.
Oh, wow.
And I was so intrigued by it, I actually got her to tell me it, and I wrote it down, and I just went looking for what she actually wrote down. I can't find it, but if you'd like me to share it.
Yes, please. I'd love to hear
Yeah.
Okay, so my dad was a firefighter, and they lived on the in the firehouses, so it was near the station. And my mum said that she'd sort of gone to bed and she heard the blues and twos going off, so she knew my dad had gone out to a job in the middle of the night. And she said during the night, my dad appeared in the bedroom in his full work gear and pungently smelling of smoke.
Oh, wow.
And she said that, she asked him if he was okay, and he said he was fine.
Wow.
And she was so, she said, obviously it's the middle of the night, she said she could have been dreaming, but she said to me it was so real, it was just like so real, he was in the bedroom. And then it turned out while he was on the job, a ceiling had collapsed. So he'd narrowly avoided a tragedy, I suppose, or him and his workmates. And I just wondered, just about the evil thing, but that seems like if it is the same type of phenomenon, I don't know. But it seems as though whatever it was sort of appeared to give her a message that he was okay.
Right. Now it does, and I don't think that it's always evil. I don't agree with that. I think it can be. I think it certainly makes sense that some beings would utilize it in order to disarm and to make people freak out or whatever, much as was suggested in the feedback. But I think you're right. I think sometimes it could have been the fact that he was in that close call, and perhaps some part of him projected to let her know, look, I'm okay. Don't worry, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. I think that's
sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. I think that there's probably, like with any of this stuff, I don't know that there's any one answer. Maybe it's a whole bunch of circumstances could create the similar phenomena. But, I guess like with anything dark and with anything horrible, you got to trust your gut feeling. Really, I really believe firmly in that. Like when we're around something dark or evil, it's going to trigger something in us. Like, I don't like this. Something's not right. And it's not just the fact that, whoa, I just saw my dad and now I see him again, or something like that. I think it's, you just know when you're around darkness. Like it feels like you just get that sick, horrible feeling. And so many times we cover that on the show. And I think there can be a number of really positive, wonderful ways these things can happen. And I even wonder with some of it, if it couldn't just be like time echoes, like of a future event, like, or other things like that, time slip kind of stuff. And that was something we didn't mention on that segment, but that's a possibility too. But I think that's a beautiful story.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same. It's the similar thing then.
It's what?
It's a similar thing to what you were talking about in the question of the week.
Yeah. I mean, I was really talking more about spiritual stuff, but I do find the fact that physical doppelgangers are a real thing too, and that was my mistake because I didn't really specify it. When when I'm writing things, it always makes perfect sense, but then when it comes back, it's like, oh, God, I should have made that make more sense.
That's true for all of us.
There's a lot going on in my head, and not all of it makes sense. Believe me, Maggie. But I think that's a beautiful story.
Well, I got to share a story, so that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's always... Go ahead, Sheldon, sorry.
Android actually had a really good question about that. Was he unconscious at any time when he was injured? So, sounds like he was projected himself there, maybe, possibly.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so, because I think that would have probably been a big part of what they would have said to me, but...
Yeah.
I do know that there was an element of being in danger, though, quite, dramatic, I suppose is the word.
Right. Yeah, I think
that is interesting.
Yeah, I think
interesting thought.
Great stress can create those kind of things where I'm sure if he thought he was looking at being in mortal danger, I'm sure his thoughts went to my wife, my family, and so probably part of him projected and just did that. So. I think what an amazing story, though. That's very cool, and I'm really thrilled that you called in and shared it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maggie.
No problem. Anyway, I'll let you get back on with the show. Thank you very much.
Okay, have a great night. Thank you for calling in and being a part of the discussion.
That's okay. Bye.
Okay, see ya.
See ya.
That's really cool. That's a good other take that we really didn't address. It doesn't always have to be negative. I agree.
It doesn't have to be negative, but then another point is like, what if some of the time it is just projection of us, our spirit, that type of thing?
Well, I mean, the whole tulpa thing is I think a very real phenomena. I think that we probably all project a tulpa at some point in our lives. I think that we probably do. Whether it's in moments of high stress like that, or just any number of reasons. Maybe when we're sleeping, if we're thinking about something really hard. Astral projection is a real thing. So it could have been an astral projection. It could have been a tulpa. It could have been whatever definition. I don't pretend to know which it was, but yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm just glad glad it worked out okay.
Oh yeah, exactly.
My hat's off to anybody that rushes into danger, like firefighters and law enforcement and things like that. That's all kinds of scary going on, so I think that's incredible. Yep. Like a self-projected tulpa. Yeah, Rachel. Yeah, I agree. Yep. Like his probably as he was looking at potential doom, I'm sure his thoughts went, my God, my family, my wife, and his heart just reached out and some part of his consciousness was there. I mean, the fact that they actually exchanged dialogue to me is so incredible because, it wasn't just oh, there he is. It smells like smoke. It was like, I'm okay. Don't worry. Oh, okay. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. It's like, wow. And then to be gone. Now, whether or not she was sleeping or awake, it isn't really as consequential as people may think. Like, well, is it just a dream? You can just dismiss dreams so readily. But I think we do some profoundly spiritual and important things in our sleep. I think we do. but not consistently. I think some sleeping stuff is just bizarre, processing of things in our mind. But I think others of it is us exploring and seeing another multi-dimensional part of our existence that we don't experience in our waking state. Like I keep saying this, like I can't tell you the times that I've been falling asleep, but just on the very edge of consciousness. And suddenly I'm in the middle of a conversation with somebody that I have no idea who it is. Like I just start experiencing this dialogue going on and people around me. And I'm like, I'm still conscious enough to go, what the hell's going on here? It's like I just entered a room that, there was something already going on and I was a part of it, or some part of me was a part of it. And it just blew me away. It's like, and I've done that a number of times. I don't understand the dynamic of it. The only thing I can think is that we probably are multi-dimensional beings ourselves. We're just so focused on this instant, this experience in our waking state that we just are shutting off everything else. But what if we were able to tune our consciousness to the more broad possibilities that we are experiencing, and maybe it's other incarnations, maybe it's the multiverse, maybe it's, I don't know what it could be. But I think that stuff is absolutely fascinating, because we human beings suffer from a condition where we feel separated. We feel like we're alone. Even when we're surrounded by people we love, we still feel like we're this island and we're not connected, and we have to achieve this state of connection. I think it's our birthright. I think we're always connected. It's just our awareness is so shallow. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. Just, it's so focused, like a horse with blinders, that all you can do is just focus on, whatever's coming. And that's it. And I think there's more to our experience than that. But anyway, that's a whole broad other conversation. But I really appreciate that.
Well,
Go ahead, Sheldon. Sorry.
Well, I mean, when you even think of it like this, the brain, I mean, I've said this before, but it still stands true. The brain is the least understood thing in our body. It is the least. I mean, we have theories on some things. Maybe we have a general idea how some things work, but we really don't know. And then on top of that, you pile in the energetic nature, the spiritual aspect of us too, that we've barely touched at all, like hardly even looked at it as far as science is concerned. There's so much we don't understand as far as how we and our brains interact with the spiritual side of things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we are existing in a much bigger sense than we think we are, but we are just so conditioned to our living experience that, everything else just gets shut out. And if you look at the world, it's not hard to see why. I mean, this whole world is built on distraction. We got multimedia, we've got World Wide Webs, we've got video games, we've got music, we've got stuff. And the world is full of wonder. I'm not degrading this experience. This is an amazing place, and it's an amazing thing to be alive here. But I think there's just so much more to us, but we just don't know how to tap into that regularly. But I think that we all have the ability to. It's just that we don't have the mechanics of how to do it.
Yeah, so, exactly.
But anyway.
Ramon brought up a really good comment. Ramon says, I get head rushes sometimes and will have that same exact experience. Reminds me of a guy who got knocked out in a coma, then woke up and had this very real family, wife and kids, while he was idle. He ended up taking his own life because he was so depressed that they were gone, even though they never existed here and now. Anyone. Yeah.
Oh, that's tragic. I know that I was watching Joe Rogan. I don't know. It was one of the clips from his show, but he was talking about a guy that I think he was doing DMT, and he did a whole bunch of it. And in the course of a 15-minute period, he said he experienced about 3 months of another life with other people, and then went through this whole experience of apparently a time akin to about 3 months of time, and then was boom sucked back in once the DMT wore off. but it was like a gateway to another part of his experience, another manifestation of his consciousness, or a multi-dimensional or multiverse kind of experience. I don't know, but it's incredible. And so,
Oh, man.
you know, and I'm not advocating, psychedelics. It's whatever it's up to the individual to decide what's best for them or whatever. But my point is that there is a lot more going on here than we know. Consciousness is not this very focused little thing. Consciousness is I think a universal force, and we're a part of it, so anyway, very cool. And thank you. Not to belabor the point, I mean, I don't mean to overstep my pay grade, but again, I don't think anybody knows this stuff, so anybody's opinion is just as valid as anybody else's, and this is just me telling you what I think. I don't, am I right? Maybe, but I could be absolutely wrong too. So I don't ascribe myself as, listen to me because I got it all sorted out. And if you send $19.99 per month, I'll walk you through it. I mean, it's nothing like that. I'm just saying, this is what I think. This is what I think is possible. So, you be the judge. It's up to you whether you take anything said on the show and decide to subscribe to it or not. That's never been the purview of the Paranormal Portal, is never that you should believe anything. But I just like to discuss possibilities because I think we're only getting a small fraction of the picture here. And all this other stuff is the breadcrumbs. It's just, these are the clues, and I think it's incumbent upon us to at least explore those possibilities, and maybe we'll come to some agreement. Maybe we won't, but it's just all about discussing ideas. Yes, yeah. Vegas Dirt Pusher, throw it all on the table. I do, and I often wonder, God, should I have said all that? But you know what? This is my forum. This is my show, and I love these discussions. If you knew me in person, this is what I would talk about. This is how I would talk with you. So. Yep. And Sheldon, you can attest to that. This is who I am. This isn't just, I got to pretend to be Paranormal Portal. This is me. This is how my mind works.
This isn't a facade. We have these conversations on and off air. This isn't just here.
In fact, I hate superficialities completely. It's like, if I'm going to talk to somebody, let's dive into something. Let's just explore something. And right, wrong, or otherwise, we'll have a great time. So this is what I appreciate about Paranormal Portal. We can be free thinkers. Absolutely, Tracy. In fact, I encourage it. I love when you guys put your ideas on the table. That's why I love the question of the week. It's my chance to put it out there to you and see what you guys think, because you get a bucket full of what I think on every show. So this is our chance to share ideas. So your theories typically make a lot of sense, and so don't hesitate to soak up. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Chucky.
Thank you, Chucky.
Chucky Danger coming through. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Basically, you're right, John. This is my head. You guys are taking a journey into my head. This is the Paranormal Portal.
Yeah, isn't he crazy? No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
You have no idea what goes on inside here. It's just crazy. But you're getting a glimpse of it. But I think about this stuff all the time because I really do this show because I'm so passionate about it. I love the fact that we have this community as well. But I would still be thinking and talking about these things, whether or not I had a YouTube show or a podcast, or if I was just sitting here, thinking, because that's just what I'm thinking about. And maybe that means I'm broken, but that's okay. If I'm broken, I don't want to be fixed.
Yes, exactly.
I'm okay with it. And in fact, I talk to people in airports, like if I'm flying around, and I go, "Hey, where are you from?" And then they'll say, "Oh, you got any Bigfoot up there?" They look at me like, "What?" I talked to one guy from Louisiana. I'm like, "Oh, you got the Rougarou down there, huh?" What? So we got into a whole discussion about it. I don't care. I used to be worried about that. Like, I should probably not look like a nut job. Now I don't care. I'm just like, well, yeah, that's what I hear. Android, thank you.
Android.
Lots of love, guys. Thank you so much. You're not broken. You're perfect just the way you are. Thank you, John. I appreciate that, brother. That's why we're here. We're like-minded people, I think. I think you guys are here because you're doing the same thing I am. And we're all kindred spirits. We're all just seekers for the truth, or at least we're on the quest. I don't know if we'll ever get to the truth, but we're going to have a hell of a time in the journey, no matter what. So
Oh, yeah.
that's the magic of the portal. But we got 5 minutes before the break.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know.
Where does the time go?
Well, it goes into great discussions, I think. I think that's the beauty of it, is because I'll tell you what, I would rather blow 2 hours talking like this with you guys than just pulling up stories for you to read to you. I don't mind that as well. I have fun doing that. Don't get me wrong, but this is really the meat and potatoes of what I'm like. We got a call here. Let's get to the call quick. We got a few minutes before the break. 5 minutes. And we have area code 330. You're on the air.
Hey, it is me. It is D.
Oh, D. How you doing?
Hey, D.
Hey, hello.
Sorry I missed your call last night.
Hey,
We just ran out of time.
You're not the only geek in town, boy.
What's that?
What?
What?
You're not the only geek. We're all geeks in here.
Oh, yeah, I know. I figured that's why we're all here.
Paranormal geek.
Yeah, we're all paranormal. We definitely are.
We're all paranormal.
Yeah, sorry about the call last night, but what's on your mind tonight?
Oh, God, everything's on my mind. I had so much going on. But, last night it was like, Bomber. I've had Bomber on my show. She's actually speaks better than she thinks she does.
Oh, sure, she was wonderful.
But, she was talking about her life after her life and death,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so it went into a bunch of other things because that's the way we are.
Yeah.
We digress happily.
Sure. Yeah.
But I agree with everything she said last night. Actually, I was getting to the point where I was like, oh, I don't really maybe need to call because I agree with all that. Just say, oh, I agree with all that. Okay. But there was some things that you said, and I wanted to kind of back you up here.
Okay.
Because I've had like 1,000,001 experiences. I live in Ohio. I've lived in a haunted place
Sure.
my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first place I've ever lived in that isn't haunted. I mean, I finally have a place that is not haunted. Gosh, it's so weird.
Yeah,
But
well, that's nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I wanted to back you up on this, is that, and I think it's only because it's a relatively new place. Almost nobody, has been here before.
Sure.
So anyway, so you're talking about this sort of a doppelganger type thing.
Uh-huh.
I used to have this, constantly, as I always look like somebody's aunt or something. It drove me completely nuts, and I really wonder if that's why I wore. Yeah, I wore all of this unusual clothing and stuff just so that I could be distinguished from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think. And it kind of got flamboyant just so that you'd know it was me and not somebody else. However, later on, I got some proof that actually people were seeing me places I wasn't, and usually when I was meditating or sleeping, and they would swear I was there, right?
Oh, wow.
And I would never have memory. Most of it I wouldn't have any memory of, or maybe I'd have vague memories of I was meaning to go to this fair, but I couldn't get there, and so I was thinking about it. And then people say they saw me at the fair, at the open-air fair. So I thought, well, that's weird. It's, something else, just somebody who looks like me for a long time. But then a lot of things started happening around that, and I think one of the definitive ones that really gave me not proof, but really took me aback in a way, and where I had to say, I think I was there. Because there were so many times when, people said, you were here doing this, you seem to be here doing that. Of course, I didn't know I could bilocate for a while. I was helping somebody with a spiritual thing, and she was sensitive, and she saw me standing next to her when I was back at home talking on the phone.
Yep, I remember you sharing that on the show before. Yep. Yeah.
So, and then when I do go out and do stuff when I'm when I'm sleeping and stuff. I'm sure of it. I'm sure most of us do.
Yep.
But this one was so weird, is that I was with a woman, and there was like something pressed on my back, and we were facing the ground, and I said, look, maybe we can sing to pass the time. And she said, until the water comes. And I said, yes, until the water comes. And the next day there was a story about a woman trapped under rubble. They decided, instead of trying to blast her out because it would kill her, that they were going to wait until the water came and drowned her instead.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh my God, I think it was there. But anyway.
That's heavy.
Is that 5 minutes? I don't know.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for calling in, Dee. We're going to run to the break. But love you bunches. Thank you.
Take care, Dee.
Okay, bye.
That's wonderful. All right, guys, we do have to go to the break. Unfortunately, we hit a wall, and we'll be back for the last half hour of the show in just a moment.
Sometimes it's easy to be casual just about repetition and not get much better. How about the man who's been talking for 10 years, but he's making the same verbal errors he made 10 years ago? Or 10 years ago he said, I don't quite know how to put this. 10 years later he's saying, I don't quite know how to put this. We can give you 10 hours not to know how to put it. You can stretch our patience and take 10 days not to know how to put it, but we can't give you 10 years. 10 years is too long not to make enough progress in better language skills. So, repetition with purpose. The purpose is to grow and to change, to develop, to expand, to make progress. Here's some other parts of saying it well. Sincerity, from the heart, with noble intent, wishing to bring value. That adds immeasurably to your ability to speak well, communicate well. There's no substitute for sincerity. I can forgive you for a mistake in judgment, but I can't forgive you for a mistake.
Discover the extraordinary powers of intuitive healing with pain transmutation, a method of holistic healing for the human soul, body, mind, and emotions. If you are looking for answers and a deep understanding of how to help yourself and the people around you to live a happier, healthier life, this is the right place for you. Learn how to read your soul's history in the Akashic Records. Remove negative energy attachments from your astral body and start the process of inner
right. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. I always forget to do something.
It's always some issues.
I can't tell you. You know, there's a reason I say this is live and unrehearsed, because I'm bound to screw something up every night, but I don't care. You know, I have a lot of fun with the shows, and I don't pretend to be perfect. And it doesn't even matter how hard I try. I'm going to end up forgetting something or doing something. So might as well have fun with it, because if I don't, someone that hates me is going to do it for me. So I might as well cash that check myself, is what I figure. So anyway, yeah, it's just a crazy night. I don't know why that's spinning. Is the YouTube stream going okay?
It's looking good on my end.
Okay, it's just spinning on the dashboard, but that doesn't mean anything necessarily. But that's just something I see. So it's like, ooh, well, chat disconnected. Uh-oh. Something's happening.
Well, looking good on my end, at least.
Okay. Stream's bit rate is higher than recommended. Yeah, it always is. But we'll see. I mean, it looks green. Are you guys, I don't know. I guess they can't even let us know anymore, because the YouTube chat got disconnected. So not sure what's going on, folks. But if no, even the phones are disconnected. Something's going sideways here.
Must be on your end.
I guess so. I mean, you and I are still connected. So
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
we're fine. I mean, you're going through just fine on YouTube. I can hear you just fine.
Oh, really?
Rachel says we're good. So
Oh, okay.
everything's fine.
Maybe it's just my chat that disconnected. Weird. But the phone lines are disconnected as well. So
that's weird.
yeah. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like we can take any more phone calls tonight anyway. But let me just click retry now and just see if it jumps back on. I don't know. No, it's not doing nothing. So the phone lines are dead. My chat is dead too. So if somebody says something, Sheldon, you'll have to let me know. It's still.
I'm always looking anyway.
It's still rolling for you.
Yeah, everything's
Okay.
still rolling. Chat's still going.
Perfect. Well, let's continue on then. They can see. I mean, the cameras are still broadcasting everything, right?
It's that. Rachel says it's that little fly. The MIB mini drone.
It's now chewing on the wires. Yeah. He hasn't come back for a while. Maybe I actually did breathe him in. I didn't even notice that he's so small. I don't know, but he was right in front of my face. But I was like, just get away. I don't want you in my throat. All right. Well, let's continue on. We got to get to the Cryptid Corner stuff, because I got some great articles from Sasquatch Chronicles coming up. And remember, again, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. special production of the Paranormal Portal live stream here on YouTube. We're going to be talking to the Irish Bigfoot Research Organization and talking about their research, as well as the third installment of the documentary series. And it's near and dear to my heart because, of course, I narrated it. So it's available now on Amazon Prime. If you want to check it out, by all means, head over to Amazon Prime and watch it. That would be wonderful. Help support my other endeavors.
Now, what is this special called for those interested?
It's called European Bigfoot Walking with the Wild Man 3. So, European Bigfoot Walking with the Wild Man 3 on Amazon Prime Video. So, let's get to some Sasquatch Chronicles in the Cryptid Corner. We're going to go there now. And so, let's go to here. All right. We're going to start out with this one. This is actually a live episode right now on Sasquatch Chronicles, but this is a great teaser to what the episode is about. These guys, it's pretty cool. So this is from January 26th. I said June. Jeez. Welcome to the real world. The monkeys are back. Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Spoke to a listener and he said, when I was around 11 years old, I went to visit my grandmother. She was at the beginning stages of dementia. My grandmother said, "Oh, those monkeys are back." And she looked out the window. Well, no one in my family listened to her because they thought she was just losing it. My cousin and I walked over to the window, and there were these three creatures walking in the creek bed. There was two that were upright walking on two legs, and a little one wrapped around one of them. The creature in the front was bigger than the one behind him by at least a foot. The third one was small and hanging off the creature in the back. I remember being in shock and telling my uncle to come look, but he just said, "They're just bears." At that young age, I knew this was not bears. It wasn't until later in life I saw the Patterson-Gimlin film and realized that is what I saw that day. So Grandma wasn't losing it. Just nobody paid attention. So
everybody thinks it's bears.
I know, it's always bears. Oh, don't worry, it's just bears. No, it's not. It's not just bears. It's something else. Something else. So that's a cool one. And that is live right now on Sasquatch Chronicles. So if you go to look on any of the major platforms, it's the newest episode, The Monkeys Are Back. So check it out. And we're going to go to the next one from Sasquatch Chronicles. And this one's from January 23rd. I saw a massive figure. A listener writes, "I'm from New Hampshire and I've been listening to your podcast for a long time now, hearing everyone else's encounters, and it has made me confident to come forward with my own encounters with this thing that is beyond our comprehension. My first encounter came when I was in the 6th grade. I'm a college junior now for context, and when I was in middle school, I played a lot of travel football in the Northeast, which required some travel in the early mornings. Being from New Hampshire, I have seen deer, black bear, foxes, the whole 9 yards of normal Northwest or Northeast land animals with enough regularity to where I'm not really too shocked when I see them. So one morning, I'm getting ready to go to the tournament in Massachusetts that started really early in the morning, and that's a long drive for me where I'm from, so it's roughly 4:30 to 5 in the morning. And I sat down to eat my cereal, and I can see through the sliding glass door through some trees into my neighbor's big backyard. He has a few acres of land, and in the fall, when the leaves have fallen off the trees, you can see right into his yard from my dining room table. Well, this time I'm looking straight ahead, and as I do, I see this deer, pretty decently sized deer. The ones we get in New Hampshire are not the biggest, but some of them are good sized. And like I said, I've seen deer all my life. So I look back down at my bowl, and out of my peripheral vision, I don't see exactly what happened, but I see a flurry of movement, and it all happened so quick. So I look up, and the deer is down with this hulking figure crouched over the deer. It looked like one of the world's strongest men donned a ghillie suit and took down this deer. He was absolutely enormous. I was looking at him for a few seconds, nothing too long, when he cocked his head up from the deer the same way I must have from my cereal and looked dead at me, through the brush and the limbs of trees. I could not really make out the fine details of his face, but what I did know is he knew exactly where I was, and I also knew that the distance between me and him could be covered quick if he did do that. There is little that a glass door can do to stop him from getting to me. It felt like hours, but after a few moments locked in this eye contact, he reaches his tree trunk arms down, picks up this deer like it's nothing. I'm no deer expert, nor am I a human expert, but with how bulky this deer was and how many pounds he must have weighed, I find it really difficult to believe that even the burliest and strongest men on earth could just so effortlessly pick up a deer, place it under his arm like a newspaper, and walk away. Well, I track him with my eyes, and when he stood up, the height of him was absolutely unbelievable. Not only was he the thickest and widest human I have ever seen, but he's also the tallest, and it's not even close. And this freak of a human just so happens to be in my state, in my neighbor's backyard. It just does not make sense. Nothing about that thing made sense. The speed, the strength, the size, it just did not make sense. The second encounter I had came a few years later, when me and an ex went camping way up north in an ex-girlfriend at the time. And in an ex-girlfriend at the time?
And an ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just written really strangely. And we were up in the state park in way up north, New Hampshire. We arrived pretty late at night, and this campground was pretty rugged. Definitely one of the more experienced campers frequented, and we did not really care much for that. We just wanted some alone time because we were stupid teenagers. Anyway, like I said, we set up our tent pretty late, and it definitely did not feel super normal to me. I know other people were around us, but it felt like they were watching us. We get the tent set up and do our thing for a few hours, and then I had to go to the bathroom, and there was an outhouse with shower and such a few hundred feet from our site. I get walking with my little flashlight, and the first thing I noticed is there is not another person or group anywhere near us. So that feeling of being watched was pretty strange, but I thought it was whatever. I heard some snaps to my left up this little hill, so I turned to look, and peeking out from behind this boulder on this hill was this massive figure. I could only tell it was big because of how thick the head was and how thick part of his shoulder was that was exposed. Whatever it was went right back behind the boulder, and I did not immediately hear it leave, but I sure as hell was not going to go up there and try to scare it away. Shocked that I did not pee myself then, I went and peed, and that was that. Never ended up telling the girl about this because she was super skittish about the whole thought of supernatural and all of that. But I will tell you, I was on edge for the rest of that trip for sure. Yikes. And I have no doubt this person saw what they saw, at least in the earlier account, especially because so many people have witnessed these huge hulking figures moving with a grace and agility that absolutely defies their ability. I mean, It just doesn't seem like that much mass could move that quickly, but so many people say, I've never seen anything move like that. It looked like it floated. Like they're just so absolutely quick and adept at being themselves, I guess, in their own element. But my God, I just can't imagine what that is like to witness. And I don't know. I can't say that I'm one of those people that I hope I someday can see a Bigfoot. I'm not sure I want to be honest with you.
Yeah, you don't want to be a missing 411.
No, and that's the thing. Now, I will say that, 90 some percent. Well, we don't really know the numbers of people that saw them and disappeared because they didn't share their story, obviously. But
exactly.
We know how many people see them, and they seem very benign and just like, oh, what are you looking at? And they just do their thing. And it's almost just a relaxed dismissiveness, like, I'm going where I'm going. What are you looking at? They don't seem as skittish in person a lot of times. Like this one peeking over the boulder, it's like, yeah, that's kind of skittish and being careful. But I mean, it did look around the boulder, and I'm sure it knew the guy could see him, because I'm sure it could have watched him and he would have never seen it if it had really decided that. But it's like it wanted the person to see them. I think they choose. I really do believe they choose when they're seen. Like they are so good at doing what they do in their element that if they don't want to be seen, you'll never know they were there. But if they want you to see them, they will. They will peek out, and let you know they're there. Maybe it's a psychological game to them. Like, watch this. Bet you they leave the campground. Watch this. Yeah, I'm looking at you. And then they probably sit back and they have a betting pool on how long it takes for the people to pack up and leave. So it's pretty interesting. What were you going to say?
Well, I mean, either that or they do it to keep us like let's say that their family members are are nearby, that type of thing. It keeps us away. It's like an intimidation tactic, like, hey, I see you. Don't go wandering, type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's right. Maybe you stay right in your campground because we're up here. We're here. And we don't want you in our turf. Yeah. It's like turf wars. I don't know. It's pretty scary though. I don't know. Would you want to see one, Sheldon?
I've actually thought about that. For a while, I was like, God, I hope I see one. But it's like, as I kept thinking about it, I've really tried to put myself in a scenario. And it's seeing something like that in person, I know I'd be terrified. I know I'd probably freeze.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. And I don't know if I would, because it's like we're pretty sure that they're more benign, but we don't know. Because, what if some missing people, found one that wasn't very tolerable of humans type of thing?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be shocked if some of them hated us. So it's like, you don't, I would love to meet the benign ones, the ones that care for us and don't mind helping us here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you can't know which ones are benign and which ones don't like you.
Yep. They don't come with labels.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm leaning towards no. As much as I would love to just to have that experience and to actually see it with my own eyes, I'm leaning towards no, just because of the terrifying experience it would be.
Yeah, exactly. I could be wrong. I mean, I've heard of plenty of people having wonderful experiences with them, and maybe that's the whole spectrum of it, but you don't know which one you're getting, and that's the problem. Are you getting the one that hates people? Or are you getting the one that kind of likes people or is curious? Or are you getting the one that just doesn't care? You're like, oh, whatever. What are you doing, bald ape? You know, I don't know. It's a conundrum of sorts, but my inquisitive part of me would like to see one, but definitely at a safe distance. Not like, oh, I round a boulder and there's a big, 9-foot one growling at me. No, I've had the growling thing happen in real life, and I don't ever want to hear that sound again. And I'll be the first to say that. It was a terrifying sound, because I didn't know what it wanted. I didn't know what it was going to do. I felt like I was about to die. I mean, it was just a sound. I didn't see anything. I didn't experience anything else. Didn't have a smell. Nothing. None of the other traditional signs. Didn't hear rocks getting thrown. None of that. It was just, we were just two teenagers hiking. And the next thing I know, we stopped, take a break, and suddenly something was right behind us growling. And it rumbled. It rumbled like thunder, and it shook my body, but it wasn't deep. It wasn't as big as thunder, but it was a really big sound. Like it came from something enormous. And it was absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And I'm
Android. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Android Paranormal says, I bet most hunters never see one because they know what guns are. So they stay hidden from hunters. Like the guy in Florida that passed said it screamed out when he grabbed his rifle.
Yes. Well, that wasn't in Florida. That was Carrie Arnold. And that was, that I don't think that was Florida. It was, I think that was in Mississippi where he was hunting at that time. But, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they know what guns are. I'm sure they do. I'm sure many of them have been shot at, and probably shot. And so they probably don't look very favorably on armed humans. But I do think that, I think honestly, it's very possible that when hunters go to the woods, they do stay hidden, but they're waiting for something to get shot and they just go in and pick it up before the hunter can get there. I don't think that happens a ton, but I think it happens. How many hunters, if you know anybody that's an avid deer hunter, everybody seems to have at least one story where I know I shot it, I followed it, and I couldn't find it. I just couldn't find it. I followed the blood trail and then there was nothing there. My own brother had that happen to him. My own brother was a deer hunter and hit one really good, and tracked the blood and through this thick stuff, and where the blood trail ended, there shouldn't have been any more blood in the deer. It was like, that's how much blood it lost. But it wasn't there. And nothing was there. Nothing dragged it out. Nothing, no other hunter skinned it out or field dressed it, taking out all the soft organs and stuff. It was just gone. So that's not a huge distance from where I was growled at as a 14-year-old. So I really think it's very possible that, and I've also since then heard of other people in the community having seen Bigfoot in that area. So, including right near Frontenac State Park. There was a sign company from Red Wing that was down doing signs for the local golf course, and both the husband and wife saw it cross the road, and then the wife at another time saw it by herself cross the road. So they're there. I don't know. Crazy.
And Android says, if you don't mind sharing, what county in Minnesota was your growling experience at?
It was in Goodhue County. And it seems unlikely because it's mostly farmland, but there's a lot of forest in there still. If you look at a satellite image of the area, there's a lot of farm fields and stuff, but there's this whole network of forest. And it's not huge, thousands of acres and stuff, but there are several large forest reserves. And look around Frontenac State Park. That's in the area that I was when I heard that growling, and it was just terrifying. God, oof, just still gives me the chills.
Yeah, like if I could observe it from a distance, kind of like I'm on this bluff and it's over on that bluff. That'd be good enough for me. Like,
but then
like
would you believe
growling? That's like kind of close. That's no. Mm-mm.
Would you believe it though if it was that far away? Would you be like, well, I think it could be, but I don't know. I mean, you'd always be second guessing that. I'd think if it's too far away.
Yeah, I mean, if like. Yeah, if I didn't have binoculars and I was just seeing with my raw eyes and just you could see something walking on two legs, and you could see it was all furry and hairy type of thing, and it had long arms. But depending on how far away, I guess so. Yeah, probably there'd be part of me that'd always be second guessing it.
I think I would be too, unless I was close enough to really be sure and to be able to get a height, like compare something for a height. Like, if it's 9 feet tall, it's out of the people range. Yeah. I mean, there's no people that big. It just doesn't happen. So even 7 feet, you can be kind of sure. I mean, 7 foot is like breaking records for humans at that point. Well, it's not breaking records. Shaq is 7'1" or something like that. So, I mean, but generally they're NBA players or somebody, I mean, there's tall people that aren't involved in basketball or sports, but still. What are the odds they're going to be traipsing around a forest in a furry costume?
See, there you go. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of people perpetuating hoaxes all the time. That's nothing new. I mean, that's going to be an ongoing problem as long as there's ways for people to try to cash in on it, notoriety. I mean, my God, there's just been 2 huge hoaxes. One was that picture that supposedly came out of England, of that close-up of a chest of a Sasquatch, and it was Cliff Barrickman, and went, wait, I think I took that picture, and we covered that on the show. But it was like, there's so many people that are absolutely motivated to take stuff. And the other one was that, we found in my dad's old collection of VHS tapes this footage of a Bigfoot crossing a road. And then what happened? We found out in the news that we did that it was exposed as being from an old movie, an old B movie,
Oh, jeez.
And so people are taking these clips and trying to sew all these yarns about it. So you got to be really extraordinarily careful about what you subscribe to and that's definitely a Sasquatch. Well, no, it's probably not. That's the problem, because there's so many people either taking pictures of bushes and saying there's 15 Sasquatch in there, or it's old clips from movies or ripped off pictures that people are trying to doctor and make look unique. So there's too much of that out there. This is really a poison to the community because, unfortunately, a lot of people are working really hard to research this stuff and to bring proof to the table. But it's hard to get any credibility when you've got so many people throwing monkey wrenches into it,
Oh, like that one YouTuber more recently.
Yeah, I mean, that guy. Oh, I got a skull. It's got a hole in it. It's like, yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that Coyote Peterson or whatever the hell the guy's name is.
Such a waste.
I know, it's so stupid. I mean, he could have just said, what if? But he put it out like it was this press release. And like he had really found this skull and was really going to, make a name for himself. And then it was like, this was a thought experiment. It's like, no, it wasn't. This is you getting caught.
No, it wasn't.
And even if it wasn't, it was done in such a poor way as to just cast doubt on everything. So meanwhile, there are really a lot of people out there working their tails off with their own blood, sweat, and tears to try to bring proof to the masses, just so that people understand there's something else in these forests. And then there's all these idiots running around seeing, in every branch they're seeing Sasquatch. And I'm sorry, that sounds disparaging. I shouldn't say it like that, but it is frustrating. Proof should look like proof. Proof should look like proof. If you're going to put anything out there as evidence, make sure it looks like proof that anybody looking at it can go, wow, that, I think that's really it. But pareidolia is a real thing. Are Sasquatch good at camouflage? Absolutely. They're very good. And I'm not saying that every picture like that is not legitimate. I'm saying that a lot of them I don't believe are. Or at least people are seeing something maybe from confirmation bias. And I think that's dangerous to it as well. But I think there's a very real phenomena out there. But I also think we're out of time. We're out of time, folks.
Oh, my God. What?
That's the bell, folks. We're all out of time, and we ran the distance. Sorry the phones went down. Sorry my chat didn't roll, so I couldn't keep up with what you guys are doing. But remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Love you guys. Have a great night. We'll see you in about a week. Or unless you come tomorrow morning. Okay. Good night, everybody.